Joyneia, and today we are examining the extinction of the black male from a multicultural point of view. So if everyone will take their time to go around and introduce themselves, starting with the gentleman to my immediate right.
Good evening, my name is John Carl Various. My father is Dominican and Jamaican. My mother is Peruvian, Italian, and indigenous.
Hi, my name is Diane Peguero. I am Dominican and Puerto Rican.
Hi, I'm Dominique Whitted. I'm African American, but all my ancestors are from Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Peace, my name is Warren True, and I'm God's and Nations Herbs.
Yeah. So I just want to say thank you everyone for coming to this group session, taking your time out of your busy schedule to help me. So right now we're just going to do a go around type of exercise. So what I want each of you to do is to identify some issues and some concerns based on our topic, which is in fact examining the extinction or the black male being eradicated from American history through the media, social media, what we see out in our front yard. So any issues or concerns that you have that in regards to this topic, please feel free to go ahead and express it. We're going to start with Born Truth.
Alright, well, I believe that the black man is discredited because of fear, and some people do know the truth. Like, everything derives from black in a sense. Like, you can't, every color comes from black, I believe. And the darker you are, the richer your roots are. And it makes sense because you can take a black person and a white person, you can make any color. You can take two black people and make light babies. Like, it's just, they try to downplay it because they know where their originality comes from. And out of fear of their own extinction, they downplay it and try to get us to kill ourselves, but we fall for it.
So what exactly is your issues or your concerns that you want to kind of like bring up that we can possibly discuss during this session?
My issues is when everyone knows the truth, why do we still sit back and allow ourselves to, like, where we went wrong? And instead of when everybody found out, like, you know, the Egyptians were black, nobody gave it a big credit. Nobody gave it big credit. And as a people, we failed. That's my problem. Like, where can we go with it as, like, a community being black myself?
So your issue is that people know the truth, but they're acting ignorant to it, even though when it's documented, it's clear, plain as day, but we're blatantly being ignorant to the facts, to truth.
Yeah.
Ms. Whitty.
Sure. Okay. I think the African males, they started declassing themselves when, like, the famous African American males became famous, like Jay-Z and all those other rappers. They set the bar for all the African Americans that look up to them, so they think sagging pants are cute or treating women a certain way is cute. Like, they just degraded themselves to look like their idols.
So that I'm clear, what exactly is like your issue or a concern that you want to possibly discuss during this session? Just so that I'm clear and everybody knows it.
I would say, like, they degrade women. Like, African American males, I guess since it's a thing that men are more superior, they just think that they're more superior, so they can just treat everyone any kind of way. Well, women any kind of way. So I think that's kind of true.
One other topic that is important to say and stand out is that also with the black people, black male or women, is that we've been categorized because we're all black. Dominican, I'm Dominican, Dominican's black. We have black descendants, and that we are all being categorized in one same category, you know, without thinking that there's also the good, but then there's also the bad. Not everybody, like we see in the news these days and we hear in the radio, things like that, reports that, oh, all of a sudden this happened or whatever happened, this incident happened, the shooting, whatever, because they're black. Automatically people start saying, oh, because they were black, of course. They're starting, you know, doing like racist arguments, but like there's good people, black good people, there's also bad people, and then like any other culture, like any other race, it could be white, it could be Hispanic, it could be the same nature, like black or whatever we could call it, I just want to let know that there's good, but there's also bad. It's not that all black people are bad, like a lot of people think, you know.
I think a lot of it has to do with the education system. The education that we provide to our youngsters from the urban areas to the private areas. There's a lot of lost in transparency when we study, for example, February's Black History Month. We have yet to learn about the black elites who grew up during the times of slavery in the North, or the white slaves that were sharecroppers as well with black men. And so I blame a lot of it in the education system. We spend most of our lives in school. Some of us stop at high school, some of us continue in college. But even at the collegiate level, you know, you have universal classes of psychology who don't teach about black psychology. A lot of it has to do with the education system, and the education system is what wraps our mind around what media is. So the constitution of education, what education teaches us and what we see in media is a big problem for the black man, because what we're taught and what we see is what we're going to pursue.
So we're going to dive into it, and I want to applaud you all for really voicing some deep-seated issues that you see, and it affects you in many ways. So just to kind of break down our topic, it is examining the extinction of the black male from a multicultural point of view. And this is something that we see in the media all the time. Like, you can't turn on YouTube and not see an officer shooting someone, or an officer putting his knee in the back of a young girl's back, or something like that. It's something that it's become very, what do I want to say, kind of like just, it's like second nature. It's like second nature, how we just turn on the TV and we see all this, and we all know the truth. We know that it's wrong, but yet and still nothing really gets done. It's just mess on top of mess on top of mess. And it's not just 2015, but it extends all the way back. So I want to give you guys like a short story, just to do a little history, because this session, I really want you guys to be knowledgeable of what is going on, and let you guys know that it just didn't start in 2015, but it goes back way, way back. We're talking about Willie Lynch. We're talking about Emmett Till. We're talking about George Steiny. We're talking about way, way back. So for those of you who don't know, Emmett Till was a 14-year-old boy who went to Money, Mississippi to visit his, I believe it was his great-grandfather. He goes down there for the summer of August. He goes down there. Now, his mother had already told him, please be careful, please be mindful of what you're doing. Down in the South is very different than how we do it here in Chicago. You cannot be on the same side of the street as a white woman. If you see her, move to the other side. Say yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, all of that. So being a child, a black child at 14 years old, and just, I want you guys to kind of put yourselves in his mother's position. Here she is sending her only child, her only son, off to a place where she knows it is very, very segregated and very, very racist, and her not knowing if her child is going to return or not. Case in point, Emmett Till allegedly went into a store, and apparently he whistled at a white woman. Now, for the evidence sake, Emmett Till had a speech impediment, so it was very impossible for him to actually carry out a full whistle to this white woman. But in any case, he's in Money, Mississippi. It's the 1950s. He is a young black male. She is a white woman. Her word trumps his. So now, the extinction part comes into play. He is kidnapped from his grandfather's home in the middle of the night at gunpoint, and he is never seen again. Days later, his body comes up in the Tallahatchie River. He was beaten to death. He was shot in his head. They cut off his ear. They bludgeoned him with, I believe, the handle of the gun, and he was also, for, I guess it was for humor's sake, a cotton gin was wrapped around his neck with barbed wire, and he was thrown to the Tallahatchie River. Sunk to the bottom, a young white kid was fishing and happened to kind of, reel him and saw him floating. So I said all that to say it's a repeat. It's a vicious cycle that's going on even in 2015. We're seeing Emmett Till in 2015. Look at Eric Gardner. Look at Scott, who's somebody recently that just... Trayvon Martin, what's the other kid's name? Michael Brown. So I kind of want your opinions on that, starting with you, Giancarlo.
Alright, so what are we trying to get at? What is your...
Well, I kind of want you to examine both, let's say let's say compare.
Past and the present, is that?
Yeah, how the past is repeating itself because people know the truth, but they are not. You know, that's what I'm talking about.
Well, in terms of people knowing the truth, as Born Truth says, again, it goes back to education. There are people who know, and there are people who don't know anything. For those who do know, where we are, there's not too much of us to be able to go out and venture out to other places to be able to tell this. A lot of people, for example, when it comes to the past to the present, a lot of it has to do with people who are willing to talk but not willing to walk. In the times of the 60s and the 70s, when you had the Young Lords and the Black Panthers, they said power to the people, all power to the people, and they walked that talk. And so now, at this point in time, you have these same people, like myself, my mentor on Black Panthers and Young Lords, who walk and talk, but can't find enough people who want to walk with me because of the fear of me getting shot. I always live by the motto that if I don't have anything to die for, then what's the reason of me living? The Black Panthers, now the time of my father, he's older now. And so what happened is now his job is to vote. My job is to fight as a young man. And so if I can't find anyone to fight with me, then I might as well just lay back and let things happen. And that's the biggest problem that I find now in young days now, that we have so many black youths who know the truth, who know about the ancient mystery systems and the black history that was lost due to the lack of transparency through the white education system, that now there's too few of us. A lot of us now just don't care anymore. A lot of us now feel that, it's just going to keep on going. Like you said, it's going to be a cycle and it's going to continue whether I fight or not, so what's the point? So a lot of us lose our courage and our honor. And that's why you have this vicious cycle of this fight, this vicious cycle of people killing each other.
So now I want to challenge that. You are a male who is from a multicultural background.
Yeah.
Do you firmly believe that the black race is being eradicated or that it is being extinct due to what we're seeing on media and just walking out our front doors?
I think it's been eradicated since, even before my time, since the beginning of slavery, we've been eradicated. The minute that Christopher Columbus went to the Caribbean, it was the minute that people found out about the continent of Africa and the richness that it's been. The minute that they set out to our motherland is the minute that we started becoming eradicated. Because at that point, they took the man out. They demasculated the man. They took everything that we hold true as people of Africa and completely changed it. There was no such thing as Christianity in Africa. We had our own spirituality, our own faith. They come with Christianity, and that's how you first eradicate. You take away our religion. The man was I guess you consider the shaman or the top guy in terms of spirituality. But you take that out, you put Christianity in, you're already killing us from the inside out. So slowly but surely, as time went on, you take our religion, now you take us to a place where we're not supposed to be. For example, the power of the sun. If you ever hear the song, The Power of the Sun, a lot of us who are people of color get our energy from the sun, the vitamin D. That's why you have so many. Exactly, the melanin comes into the complex. And so what happens when you take us away from our source of melanin and bring us to a place where there's barely any sunlight here, that's why you have things like diabetes, high cholesterol, all of that. We have a big problem with that.
Diane, I want to ask you this question. As Dominican, correct?
Yes.
Okay. As a Dominican woman, how do you feel about seeing the black male, how he's being portrayed on all types of social media, just on the news? Like, what is your perception? Because again, you're Dominican, you're from a different cultural background. But I'm sure that you work with black males all the time, you're in contact with them. How does that make you feel as kind of like a quote-unquote outsider looking in?
Well, that's the key. As an outsider looking in, and it's very simple, and I'm going to say it as simple as it is. The way that I see it is that even though, like he was saying, from the past that comes from education, and that many years back, the way you were saying from the 1950s, there was a lot of, the racist people and all that. Even though a lot of people don't want to realize it, we're still living in the same world. Right now, even though people want to pretend that it's not happening, it is still happening. We still have the racist people that think they're superior to black men, and that's the truth. And that's what we see, like you said on the news, what's going on, that they're killing Trayvon Martin, the girl that just went on the news because the police officer assaulted her, and all these other examples is because nowadays you're only going to see that it's being done to the black men, because we don't never see nothing about a white or Hispanic or any other culture. It's all to the black people, because even people don't want to say it, but we have to realize it. We still live in the same world where everybody is racist. There's a lot of racist people.
Dominique, I want to ask you the same question. As a black female, you're not necessarily an outsider looking in, but what are your viewpoints on the black male actually being extinct or being eradicated? We see it all the time on the news. I mean, you're young, you're still in high school and whatnot, so, you know, how do you feel about that?
I would call it more of like a confidence, like going back to history, like how Christopher Columbus found America, but not originally it was the Native Americans who were already living there, so technically it was never founded, but they never got credit for living there, which is kind of the same thing now, where black people don't get credited, black male doesn't get credited for the good things that they may do, but they only get put on the news if they kill someone or if they're killed or if they're doing something wrong, but they never get seen to do the good things, like giving to charity or marching for some right. Like, I think it's more of the lack of confidence that they may have. But
I just want to make a quick comment with Giancarlo and Dominique. Going back on what Giancarlo was saying, how if you take, pretty much you were saying, if you take the black male out, that's a form of, you know, having him eradicated or extinct. I was doing some research and I did find out that if a woman wants to get services from social services or DSS as it's called here in Poughkeepsie, she'll get more money if the black male or if the man period is not in the home. He can be in the home, but they'll tell her, well, don't put him down, she'll get more money. Even though he's in the home taking care of his children, he's still, you can't credit him for that because you'll get more money if you say he's not there. So it kind of goes back to even in slavery days where they would take the black male away from the black woman, making her vulnerable and all types of stuff like, you know, like that. And going back on what Dominique was saying about confidence, it's just, not confidence, you were talking about how they don't illuminate or they don't broadcast all the great things that young black males are doing. There's a charter school that graduates 98% of their school, 98%. That's a good, 2% to, mess around with. But again, there's a charter school out there that actually graduates 98% of its students. But that doesn't get put on TV or anything like that. Born Truth. It's the same question.
Well, basically.
Because now you're actually a black male living in hell, basically.
What it is like when you explain Willie Lynch, like from there, it's all a plan. That's why I don't pay attention to the media. Yeah, they may show like what's going on with it, but they show that for a reason, because they want a reaction. Like, the reaction is to get us to act even crazier, get the little Republicans to say, hey, we don't feel safe with these people. And it's like, now we're really public enemy number one. They build us up like a little by little, get us into the media, to feed us fake dreams like whips and chains all over again. They replaced it with cars and gold and everything. It's still a whip and a chain. We're still a slave to it. And like mentally, we all been hypnotized from slavery days to now. It's like how they make the lighter skin look a little better. They make you feel bad because you're darker. Like, it's not just the black man. It's black in general. Like being black, of black descent in general. They try to downplay it. They try to get us to kill one another. And now they're trying to get us to be aggressive and angry people by saying the protectors, the police, are bad guys. So now it's going to be blacks versus police, because that's all they show. They're showing it for a reason to get a reaction. So it's like, I know a lot of good cops, I know a lot of bad cops. It's just the way it is.
Alright, so I'm not going to assume, I'm just going to ask by a show of hands, everybody in here, have you experienced some form of racism, some type of discrimination, period? We're going to start with you. So you shook your head, no, you have not experienced any type of racism, any type of discrimination, nothing else.
Thanks God, no.
What about you?
Me, yeah, of course, I definitely have. Well, I come from Mount Vernon, New York, so coming up here to a place that's more conservative, more people of Caucasian descent, European descent, definitely you get profiled. For example, when you're driving a car and you happen to drive a fancier car than somebody who's white, you tend to get stopped more, or you just look a certain way. You're just gonna get stopped. So the whole racial profile, definitely, that's happened several times now.
Can you give me an example? I'm sorry, I should have made that clear. For each person who did raise their hand, I would like you guys to give me at least one example of personal experience where you've experienced racism and discrimination.
Experiencing racism. I would say in my high school.
Okay.
Definitely in my high school. I went to Arlington High School, and I was a football player. I played on the football team, and between the coaches and the players, many of those black athletes who were far superior than those of the white athletes wouldn't get their time in terms of the playing time. They got less recruited by college recruits when they did come. In terms of when we were in practicing, even when weightlifting, one side was for whites and one side was for blacks. Not that it was posted anywhere like it was in the 60s, but mentally we stuck to who we knew. We just played with you white folks. We don't conversate with you white folks. And so that I felt that racism and discrimination at that point firsthand, being a football player, being on that team and experiencing that.
So when they did have segregation even in the gym between the blacks and the whites, why'd you choose the black side?
Well, I didn't choose the black. Well, it's not that I chose the black side. It's like when the majority goes to the right, you don't want to be that one person to go to the left.
Gotcha.
It was almost that psychology testing where they had 5 people who had all the right answers, right? No, one person had all the right answers, but 5 people had the wrong answer. In public, you would go with the person who all the 5 who had the wrong answer because you think they're right. So the same with me, I wouldn't travel to the white side because then my own people are gonna look at me awkward. And for the white friends that I did have, if I travel to the black side, they're gonna be like, oh, so we not cool anymore? And so I went with what I knew best, and that was the black side, and that's what I stuck.
Now, did that make you empowered more, or how do you feel about that?
Oh, it definitely empowered me. I mean, I'm a black man.
Gotcha.
I'm a black man, and so being able to, not just be with my side, but also be the bridge as well, to be able to make us come together was great. But at the foundation of it, I am a black man, and I will always go to my people before anyone else.
Well, in my experience, it's just every day. One time, pure racism. I'm walking down the street, it's Main Street. I got on a hoodie, but not over my head, just the regular clothing, no sagging, nothing. I'm stopped by 2 Caucasian males. They're asking me where to get drugs from. Now, they meet another Caucasian guy who actually has the drugs. Now, in this group, they're sitting there. I'm just happen to be a passerby. I told them I couldn't help them. So, in the situation, the cops pull up. They stop me. They say, "Hey, you right there." So where's the drugs? I'm like, I don't have any drugs. You got the wrong guy or whatever. They're like, oh, so these 3 white guys right here. This is exactly what they said. These 3 white guys right here are the drug dealers, huh? And you're the user, huh? Laughed at me. Got stopped and frisked, treated badly. Every time I come in contact with police, well, not every time, but majority of the time, I am afraid. I'm not afraid of anybody out in these streets, but when the police comes up to me and they ask me a question, I'm afraid to tell the truth. I don't know what to do, lie or tell the truth. It's not a win-win situation because I'm black. They automatically think I'm a drug dealer, I got a gun, I'm gonna hurt somebody. Especially here in this area, it's just.
Okay. Well, as I said, I'm from my family's from Fayetteville, North Carolina. But when I was in North Carolina in Greensboro, we were staying in a hotel and we were going to use the elevator to go back upstairs. And this she was a white lady. I think she had 3 girls or something with her. And me and my cousins got in the elevator, and her 3 girls followed us in. And their mom made her get out of the elevator, and they took the stairs up to whatever floor they were going on. So I was just like, well, they could have just used the elevator. It wasn't that big of a deal. Because I'm not racist. I have friends of all colors, so I really don't care. But I guess in North Carolina or South Carolina, they do still strong belief in the racism and African Americans are superior to the Caucasians or whatever. So, yeah, that was my experiment on racism from my own point of view.
Well, I'll give my own personal experience, and then I'll let you guys break for like a good 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll come back, wrap up the session, and you guys are free to go. It was a white woman, and she came to my office. The place where I work in a very multicultural setting. Everybody from all types of cultures and whatnot comes in and out of my office on a daily basis. This woman who came from headquarters was coming to meet me in my office, so I kindly got up out of my chair because for whatever reason she would not step foot into my office. The door was open for her, she did not step in. So I kindly got out of my chair to introduce myself, and I stuck my hand out to say, "Hi, my name is Joy, how are you?" And she would not shake my hand. And she gave me this real dirty look as if to say, "I can't touch your hand because you're black. I can't touch your hand because I think what you have is going to rub off on me." Mind you, she is a middle-aged white woman from God knows where, but her vibe and the fact that she would not shake my hand was very unprofessional, because in the professional realm, you stand up, you shake their hand very firmly, look into their eyes, say hi, whatever. She would not shake my hand for anything, and I was very offended by that. And she just kind of said, "Hi, my name is so-and-so," and she kind of, walked off. At that point, I knew if she began to work in my facility, it wouldn't be an even playing ground, because that right there would always stick in my mind that I wasn't good enough for you to shake my hand. In the same field, same profession, but my hand's not good enough to be placed with yours. So that was a form of racism. I've been called the N-word before, stereotyped because I'm young and I'm black. They just automatically think I have 10 kids, and they're amazed when I say, "No, that's not me." "Really? Are you sure?" I think I know. But again, thank you guys. We're gonna split for like a good 10 minutes so you can